and she's got a lot of awesome stuff to share tonight. So take it away.
All right, thank you. I'm really hoping that this is really organized and that it actually is simplified. If you do hop on, or if somebody notice, like when I'm noticing when people hop on, that they're coming in not muted. So if you have access to do that, or what, if you could, somebody could be in charge of muting people if they're making noise. All right, so I'm hoping that this is super simplified. I feel like on my team, once people join, people start to get a little bit overwhelmed with all of the information and the things that they need to be doing. So I have tried to simplify it into 2 different categories. Of all of the IPAs that we need to be doing each day, I've tried to simplify it into 2 different categories, and within those kind of break those down just a little bit so that we have a better idea of everything that we need to be doing each day. So the first category is socialize, and that's one of the topics we're going to be talking about tonight. So we know that we're in the relationship business. So just talking about just the main points underneath that category that we need to be doing every day and touching base with people and having those conversations going. And the second category is growing yourself, growing your team, growing your goals, and expanding your opportunity with Plexus. So we'll be talking about those the last couple weeks. But so today's socialize, and within that category, we're going to be talking about reaching out and following up, which we know and we've heard, and it's actually really great timing because we just finished that reach out challenge on the Provision and the Paladins page. So this is kind of an overview of that, as well as some other things I've kind of thrown in a little bit just to organize it a little bit better. And then we're going to have somebody hop on tonight that's going to talk about their experience with the Reach Out Challenge too. So if you're a note taker or not, I'll try to kind of talk about the points that I'm talking about as we go. So the first one is under the socialize category is reaching out. We can all agree that this is definitely something that we need to do. Like I said, that we within this reach out category, I'm just going to break it down into 3 different sections: how we reach out, why we reach out, and who we need to reach out to. So the how is, we know that we're in the relationship business. We are talking with people every day. I'm a green personality, so this is actually one that I kind of had no idea we needed to be doing whenever we joined. And so this was something that was harder for me to learn, is those relationship skills and knowing that I actually do need to be talking to people. But some of the things I've learned along the way is that we just need to be taking advantage of every single interaction that we have with people, and seeking out ways to start conversations or to make new relationships. And not only that, but take them to a more personal level. So we know that it's great to interact with people on Facebook, but instead of liking their post, comment on their post. Instead of commenting on their post, send them a personal message. So if you see somebody's kids you haven't seen in a while, or they have a new baby and you want to say congratulations, well, instead of commenting on it, send up a personal message. And that is kind of twofold too, because not only is it more personal, but then your Plexus posts start showing up in their news feed more often. So it's the more personal you get with these relationships and that deeper relationship, it's definitely a better interaction. So instead of liking, comment. Instead of commenting, sending them a message. Instead of sending them a message, send them a voice message. So I guess I'm listing these out so that it challenges you. If you're currently just sending messages, I'm challenging you to bump it up into a voice message. If you're really great at voice messages now, bump it up and call them on the phone, or ask them if you can start a conversation whenever they're free in the next hour, if you can call them. If you're already up to the calling, then take it to the next level and try to meet up with them for coffee, or do something in person, or have them over for a play date. So just taking those relationships to a deeper level so that they can see your genuine personality, that you're not just out for a sale, that you want to get to know them, get to know ways that you can help them, and just be more genuine in those relationships. And then as far as the reach out challenge we just did, there was a lot of really specific message threads. I won't go into all of those tonight because we can tag those on the page or refresh our memory of what they are. But just some ways how to reach out to people that you may not have seen or heard of would be one that I've been doing a lot lately is shooting, like I was just talking about, shooting them a message instead of just commenting on the picture. Compliment them. Just shoot them a message and say, you know, hey, I really enjoy your posts. They're always positive. I never have to feel like I have to, you know, skip over your posts because they're, you know, salesy or annoying or anything like that, or not necessarily salesy, negative or critical. Another one is ask a question. Like I had a friend recently that had been posting like a table or something that her kids were playing on. And so I messaged her because I was kind of interested in getting one of those for the kid's birthday. And we started a conversation about where she bought it and places that she had looked and some other options. And so just having that conversation back and forth and getting to know people. And these are really great ways if you haven't talked to someone in a long time. Instead of throwing up Plexus on them right away, or you really want to talk to them about Plexus, but you haven't talked to them in 10 years, something like this is really good to start up those conversations with people you haven't talked to in a long time. Another one on the Reach Out Challenge that I really like that I just did this week is finding a funny picture or a meme or a silly video or something that, and while you're looking at these things, think of somebody that it maybe reminds you of, or an inside joke you used to have with an old friend or something, and sending it to someone in a personal message, just saying, hey, I was thinking of you, this was funny, just to touch base with people again, start building that relationship. And getting to know them. And so, as you can tell, this is in the socialized category. It's not just, I'm going to send 20 messages about Plexus every day. It's just communicating, just building relationships with people and building that trust to where they don't feel like you're just a salesperson selling them something on Facebook. You're really building those relationships again. And then another one that I really liked was messaging people who are already in network marketing and just starting up conversations with them and seeing how it's going and ending the conversation with, you know, I'm cheering you on, kind of like we're in the same boat, we're in this together. And I thought it was so interesting that many of the Plexus jewels used to be in other network marketing companies before Plexus. And, you know, getting those conversations starting, realizing maybe that they're not satisfied with where they are, and learning that Plexus compensation plan is a million times better. So just having those conversations, not being pushy from the start. One thing I've learned with Plexus is having patience. I know it's so hard when we have goals and we want to get to certain ranks by a certain time, but just being patient and knowing that deep down the value of relationships is really what's going to build that solid foundation for you eventually to start building a really strong business. So just patience while you're socializing, while you're talking with people, that eventually, naturally, Plexus is going to come up. One thing I heard on a call from Brooke Light one time was that she never brings up Plexus to people. She's just always talking, always building relationships, and they're going to be so curious from her results of her Plexus posts, of the lifestyle changes that she has in her life, the freedom that she now has from her business. People are going to be so curious because it's so attractive in the way that she's presenting it on Facebook, that people will eventually start asking her about it, or she brings it up naturally in a conversation. So I guess I'm encouraging you to be patient and keep a genuine conversation the first and foremost before throwing out Plexus on people. But again, there are times where we want to really find golden messages that just open the door about Plexus. A lot of times People aren't going to know that you represent Plexus or are not going to message you. I never would have messaged Sherry about Facebook. Or about Plexus. I would have never messaged Chris about Plexus, but I was so curious about it. So the reason why we reach out about Plexus is because 99% of the time, people are not going to message you about it, even though that they're in super need of it. They are already looking it up and researching it. They are already curious and would buy the minute that you message them. But it just takes that point of contact, just messaging someone and opening that door about Plexus. So don't be intimidated to bring Plexus up. It's never, should be never a, I know I should say it should never be a fear, but it's a huge fear for a lot of people. But it just, opening that door about Plexus is super important. If you're posting consistently, you have people watching, you have curious people. So all you really need to do is just say, hi, like, are you interested in Plexus? Hi, have you seen my Plexus posts? Like, just opening that door about Plexus. There's that magic message, I don't know if you've seen, from one of the jewels, and all it is hi, you've probably seen my Plexus posts. I've been posting for a couple years. Have you ever tried it? That's all it is, 3 sentences. And that has been extremely successful for a lot of people, and that's something that I've been using a lot lately. And my ratio of responses has skyrocketed. Like it used to be like 1 in 10. If I messaged 10 people, I'd get 1 response back. But now it's more like 6 or 7 for every 10 people that I message back. And I've been sending out samples to people. So really it's just opening that door, not pushy, not asking them to buy the products from you. It's just, have you ever tried them? So just opening that door about Plexus if you're being consistent with your posting and letting people know that you are a Plexus ambassador. Another reason that we message people is to break the ice for those people that are a skeptic. Maybe they're misinformed about Plexus. Maybe they have a very wrong idea of what Plexus is. And you being consistent and genuine in your relationships with them is going to kind of break that barrier of that wall that they've put up about between you and Plexus, or Plexus and them. And just letting them know that you truly care about them, and that can start to crumble that wall to where they will feel more open to talking to you about it. So you message everyone, even if you feel or they have vocally said that they're not interested in Plexus. Just coming to them from a genuine standpoint would be very valuable. I actually just had someone, it's getting close to Easter, and I have a dress I bought for Easter, and it's a white dress, and I'm very pale, and I was thinking, man, I really need some like sunless tanner. And I had been thinking about that for a couple weeks, and I was like, oh, I've heard really great things about that, like Rodan and Field's sunless tanner. And so I was like, maybe I have a couple friends that sell it. And like the next day, someone from Rodan and Fields messaged me and was like, hey, I'm running a special right now. Would you like, to hear more about our products or whatever? I was like, yeah, I actually have been thinking about it, and I literally ordered that day. So stuff like that happens all the time. You just have to trust in the Lord's timing, and just put yourself on a limb for just a split second, because you never know who's already curious, who's already been thinking about it, how many seeds you can already be planting. So I hope that encourages you, those of you who are super fearful of reaching out. A lot of times it just takes that split second of you're scared out of your pants, and just do it, because a lot of people are already ready to talk to you about it. Let me see my notes. Okay, so we talked about how to reach out to people, different ways, liking and commenting, different situations that you would want to message them just to get the ball rolling and start up those relationships. how to open the door. I didn't go into a lot of the specifics of like Carissa's messages that are worded amazingly, because they're a little bit longer and we can post those on, or they're already probably on the team page. So I won't go into details about those. But there's a lot of great message templates to use for sounding genuine versus throwing up plexus on people. So you always want to make sure that you are coming from a standpoint of that you truly care about them and a place of vulnerability. And so we talked about how and why to reach out. And then the last one is who you should be reaching out to. And if you haven't heard about a Frank's list, I'm telling you now. So a Frank's list is the first thing that you should be doing, is listing out friends, relatives, acquaintances, first neighbors, kid connections, and spouse connections or social connections that you have. And once you start going all of those 6 different categories, you will easily come up with at least 100 people. Seems kind of crazy, but it will definitely happen. And then the first people on those lists that you want to touch base with when you're first starting out are those people that you have really strong relationships with, that trust you and that support you. And try, your first goal is to get to silver. So find your top 5 people on that list that you think would be your biggest supporters and reach out to them, because getting to silver is huge. You get a $100 bonus, and you just by adding 3 people to your team, and then from then your team can start growing exponentially. So getting to silver is huge, and you want to do that as quickly as possible. So that Frank's list is very important. And something you also want to be doing is adding people as friends every single day, so that you have more of an audience to post to and more people to reach out to. And you can use the Facebook suggestions. They always suggest people to you if you know them. Your spouse's friends, you can run through their friends list and see anybody that you aren't currently friends with. If anybody comments on pictures that you're tagged in, so it's not necessarily ones that you've posted or but someone's posted of you and they comment on them, say like my mom posts pictures of my kids all the time, I always friend request any of her friends that comment on those pictures, because if they're going to comment about my kids, then we might as well be friends. So I add them as friends. And my mom is a nurse too, so I've been adding some of her friends and trying to get into that little realm. And use hashtags to search on Facebook. I know some people on my team have had really great success with searching hashtags, and some other great message templates for that are just to reach out to the people, tell them that you found them from a hashtag, and run through their page, compliment them on some of the things that you've seen on their page and that you love being a part of. Maybe they're a positive person. Maybe they post a lot of inspirational quotes or things like that. Comment or compliment them. Say, hey, I have loved working with a lot of very positive people like you, and I've built a very successful business from home. Would you be interested in hearing more about it, or something along those lines? Just getting that ball started and opening up a whole new realm of a cold market that you haven't talked to yet, which is, I've really been doing that a lot on Instagram and building a lot of relationships in that way, and kind of watering those and letting those grow a little bit so that I can start tapping into a different market there as well. And then recently, I've finally started adding people on Facebook that I meet out in person. So I've met some people at the gym, and I have asked them to be Facebook friends and handed them my phone and had them type in their name, and we're Facebook friends now. So it's another way, be reaching out and building relationships with those people. And then one of the last ones is Facebook groups on Facebook of any topic that maybe interests you. I've been looking into homeschooling ones. I'm sure my sister has some German Shepherd dog and pet and animal ones that she's a part of. Or if you like cooking ones and recipe ones or Instant Pot or Whole30 or whatever your little niche is, get a part of some Facebook groups there that have thousands of people in them. We want bigger groups, and just start interacting with people, commenting on the posts, building relationships, adding them on as friends on Facebook so they start seeing your Plexus posts, and then add them to your friends list so that you have that list that you're constantly referring to, and you have that list each day that you can start adding, popping in messages and talking to them and building those relationships. And then the last one is the scary one of who to reach out to. It's your dream teamers and those people that you know are successful. They are influential people. They're well liked. They have an attractive lifestyle, and they have great social media skills. Those are the people that you want on your team, the people you know will be awesome at this. And those are the scariest because those are the best people to be super bold with, and just to message them, compliment them, tell them exactly why you think they would be amazing at Plexus in this business, and take a deep breath and hit send, and invite them to, you maybe ask them to get on a phone call with you, ask them if you can share more, and just be bold and super blunt with them. And I have had a few more responses like that where they're actually interested because you have kind of lifted them up and already built belief in them. So those are super important to just go for every once in a while because those are the people that you want to be runners on your team. All right. We did how, why, and who. Oh, one little last category in the reaching out one, if I have time, is what if you are new to this at first? Maybe you feel like inexperienced about network marketing or your Plexus product knowledge or business knowledge. You are brand new, or you've been in it a while, you just don't feel very comfortable. Make sure that you are staying in constant touch with your sponsor, because we are here, we want to see you succeed. So everyone on this team has a passion for helping others reach their goals. And so I hope that you understand that about your sponsor, that they are here to help you. I mean, that's probably a bigger reason why I'm in Plexus, is to help others see financial freedom like I've had in my life. And so I am super passionate about helping others meet their goals. So stay in constant touch with your sponsor. If you feel like this isn't a strength yet, eventually it will be, and eventually you won't have to reach out to your sponsor all the time. But in the beginning, don't ever be fearful that they are annoyed or anything by you. You can start three-way messages with new people, with you and your sponsor and the new person. Let your sponsor know what messages you're sending. Send them a screenshot, copy and paste, so you can kind of get feedback on if that was a good message, some ways you could tweak it to be more effective. Let them know the people you're reaching out to, how many people you're reaching out to a day, a week, whatever. Just keep those conversations with you and your sponsor going so that you can get a lot of feedback on how it's going in that area as well. So don't ever feel like you're alone in this whatsoever. All right, the second topic for tonight is follow up, and we're going to talk about how, why, and who to follow up with as well. So how you want to follow up. It does not always have to be you've talked to them, they haven't said anything back yet, and you want to follow up and be like, are you going to order yet? It doesn't have to be like that every time, especially. Don't ask them that seven times before they finally order. Some different ways to follow up is just to build that relationship again. Message them about something completely unrelated about Plexus. Comment on one of their posts. Maybe they'll think, hey, I need to message them back about Plexus. If we have any specials going on, Keep them on your list of follow-up people and shoot them messages when we have specials. Send them a testimony or a diamond documentary or any of the amazing back office materials that we have. Shoot them something, once a week as follow-up. Message them and ask for referrals. I don't know, keep the business going even though they're not saying anything back. And one super effective one is to set up an appointment to follow up. So if you haven't heard from them, be like, hey, I'm going to check back in on you on Friday or something like that. Set a time where they know that you're going to be messaging them back. Who to follow up with is anyone that you've reached out to, whether they've responded back to you or not. They have probably seen your message. They may have gotten busy and forgotten about it. They may have read it while they were talking with their toddler and totally forgot about it. They may have read it and said, oh, I'll get back to them later, but they just forgot. So you never know why someone doesn't message you. So don't write them off if they haven't said anything to you and you're hearing crickets. Just add them to your list of follow-up. And they're just not as quite a high a priority as those who you have a constant conversation with. If they've said that they're going to order, be like, hey, I haven't gotten my email yet that your order went through. Did you have any issues? I'm so excited to see you get started. I know you're going to love these products. So don't ever put any doubt in their mind, or don't ever read their thoughts and think, oh, they thought that it was too expensive. Oh, they aren't wanting it anymore. Don't ever read negatively into the situation. Always assume the best and that they're still super excited and something else just popped up in their life at the moment. Also follow up with customers of yours that are consistently ordering over 100 PV and talk to them about getting a better discount when they join as an ambassador and get the wholesale prices, and run the numbers for them so that they can see that they will be saving some major bucks if they do join as ambassador. Reasons why you want to follow up. 48% of people never follow up, ever. 25% of people only follow up 2 times. 12% 3 times. 10%, only 10% people follow up over 10 or over 3 times. But 2% of sales close after the first contact. 3% of sales close on the second contact, 5% on the third, 10% on the fourth, and then 80% between 5 and 8 follow up. So there's a huge gap there of people who will follow up and how long it takes for someone to actually come to a decision whether yes or no they want to purchase something. So that's why it's super important to follow up, why it's super important to stay organized with your follow-up list. Like I keep going like this because my follow-up is just one big long list of names that I go back to. So it's super important to write those names down. Don't let people fall through the cracks. Don't think just because they didn't respond back to you that you need to write them off and they're not interested. Keep a list of people, and it is super, super important to be following up. Another thing that I made the mistake of in the beginning is following up a long time in between messages. Like I messaged someone in February and then it's like April or May and I'm like, oh, I need to get back to them. They were interested. Well, in 3 months, 4 months, they probably have completely forgotten about it, or they probably picked up some crappy thing from Walmart and they aren't as in the know about Plexus right now. So it's super important to not only follow up, but follow up fairly close together. Stay in quick close contact with them. Remember, it doesn't always have to be about Plexus, but just keep that relationship close and keep the thought on their mind and don't let them stray away or you're going to lose them. So continue to follow up and follow up consistently. And what I mean by that is 1 to 3 days in the beginning, and then maybe once a week, and then maybe once a month, check in on them, but don't ever let it go like 2 or 3 months in between contacts, because you're going to lose them. So just stay super consistent with that. I think that's all I had on follow up, and we only have a few minutes left anyway, but I have someone on my team that she's a level 2, and her name is Lakin, and she just joined. It's been less than 2 months, I think, and she just signed her first ambassador. She did the reach out challenge that we did and stayed super consistent with that and had some great success. Obviously, she signed up an ambassador. So I asked her if she would share with us kind of how the reach out went for her, how it's been in the beginning, maybe some stumbling blocks that she's come across. Anyway, I'll let her jump in and kind of tell you her experience so far in the beginning. So, Lakin, are you still with us?
Yep, I'm still here.
All right.
Hey, everyone. I started Plexus in January after my 3rd head cold. I'm a teacher, and germs run rampant in the school building, and I could not get rid of my head cold. So in January, I went to the doctor, and the doctor gave me about 31 steroids to take and 21 antibiotic pills to take over a amount of 7 days. And afterwards, I felt terrible. I felt horrible, and I felt bloated and just yucky. And so I contacted Taylor, who's my upline, and said, Taylor, I need to get that BioCleanse from you. I need something to flush all this junk out of me. And so I took it for about a month, and I was still super skeptical because I've never jumped on like a diet fad kind of thing ever. So I jumped on and I tried it for a month, and I loved it. And so I was off of it for 2 days while I was waiting for my reorder, and I was miserable after 2 days. I was not sleeping well. My bloat came back, and I was just horribly upset. So at that point, I started playing with the numbers and saw that it was cheaper for me to sign up as an ambassador to get Slim and the ProBio and the BioCleanse than it was for me to order it as a preferred customer. So I jumped on board. To couple with that was also my boyfriend and I are moving in together, and money's going to be kind of tight. So I wanted to find a way to pay for my Plexus to get that off of our bill. So I said, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. And I saw the share out challenge on our team page, and I said, you know what, this is a great way for me to get started, because I had a couple people immediately who were like, hey, I've heard of Plexus, I trust you, I want to try this. Signed up 3 people as retail customers really fast, and then it just kind of dropped off. So the Share on Purpose challenge came out, and I just decided, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And I just stuck with it. I did every challenge, even though it was scary. And I said, you know what, if people don't like me, then people don't like me, but I don't need to please everybody. I learned that a long time ago. You don't please everybody when you're a teacher. So I just decided, hey, I'm going to do this. And I just started with the people that I knew were my friends and that I could trust. And I started with them and was like, hey, I'm nervous to talk to you about this, but I know that you know where I'm at, you know where I'm coming from, so let's talk. And they were really welcoming about it. And so then I was able to reach out to some people that I wasn't very close to. And I've learned over the course of the week that cold calling them about Plexus is not the way to go. I actually lost a couple people over that. But I sat down with this friend from high school that I hadn't talked to in about 6 years. And she was like, I hate when people just talk to me about this stuff. She's like, I'm so thankful you started our conversation with you wanted to catch up before you started talking about Plexus. And that just encouraged me more to just, make those relationships, build those connections, and jump from there into Plexus, because they're going to trust you more if you build that connection before you try to go on. And so, yes, it's scary to cold call people. I am pretty extroverted, but I still get kind of nervous. So I just said, hey, I've got to go for it, and I'm going to do the best that I can. And actually, one of my boyfriend's friends' girlfriends is my first ambassador. So not somebody I even have a really good connection with, just somebody that I had an acquaintance with. And so if I can do it, anyone can do it.
All right, thank you so much, Lakin. I'm so glad you shared that. just your boldness and sharing out. Like I said, I'm a green, so like meeting people in person is not my strength, but that definitely encourages me, and I'm so glad you shared that. Anyway, I think we have a couple more minutes. 3 minutes. So if anybody has any questions whatsoever, we will take questions the last few minutes if we have any. You can just unmute yourself. And it can be for anybody. It just doesn't have to be for me. It can be for Lakin or Sherry. Anybody? Okay. Sherry, do you have anything else before we get off here?
No, that was great. If you guys have been around, I'm sure you've heard most of that, but it's always good to hear it all in one spot. And some of you new people, I could see you just feverishly writing. But thank you so much, Jill, for that information. And then next week, are we talking about posting? Is that what is on the calendar?
I would have to look at the calendar. I'm not quite sure what it is.
Well, that's what's on my calendar, so I think that's what it's about. And we kind of mentioned before, and Jill mentioned in her video, her live video a few days ago, that we really want you all to be a part of this entire series so that you can really get that duplication and the simplification of this process and how to make money. So if you can be on every call for the next 5 weeks, and then I'm going to post something after every single call so you can post a takeaway. So go on there before we post the link tomorrow and give us your takeaway. Give us a little tidbit that you pulled from tonight. And after you've kind of done that over the next 5 weeks, we will send you your very own succulent plant, which Jill went over how they are very durable and they're hard to kill. So it kind of, if you're bad with plants like us, that's great, but also it's a good symbol of how we should be in this business. We need to be consistent and follow up and continually reach out and share the amazing gift that we have with Plexus. But we are down to less than a minute. So thank you again, Jill, and thank you everyone for coming, and look out for that post. I'll post it in a few minutes, and give us your takeaways.
Guys.
Bye, guys.